The younger brother-in-law watched helplessly as the woman he loved, his own sister-in-law, was being bullied. Yet he could only hide under the bed, not even daring to breathe, afraid of being discovered. That was because the man responsible was a powerful tycoon in Jiangqing, someone he could never afford to offend. After everything was over, the tycoon glanced at the bed and noticed the woman. At that moment, he made up his mind he would marry her no matter what. Soon after, someone reported that all the cash, jewelry, and gold in Jiangqing had been gathered. Setting off immediately, the tycoon personally went to propose, bringing a whole car filled with treasures. But to his surprise, the woman's heart belonged only to the cowardly younger brother-in-law. Furious, the tycoon shouted at her, saying that the younger brother-in-law had been hiding under the table the night before, too afraid to even protect the woman he claimed to care about. Is a coward like that really worth your devotion? In truth, the younger brother-in-law had once promised her that once he got into university, he would take her to the city and give her a better life. What she didn't know was that he had already gotten involved with a wealthy young lady from the Song family in the city. Still, she trusted him completely, waking up early and working late every day selling tofu just to support his studies. Meanwhile, the younger brother-in-law secretly borrowed 10,000 yuan from the tycoon so he could marry the Song family's daughter. When the tycoon saw that the woman still refused to marry him, he told her to pass along a message. The younger brother-in-law must repay the money within 3 days, or face the consequences. When the woman confronted the younger brother-in-law about the money, he pretended to be pitiful and lied, saying it was for his university expenses. He even claimed he would quit school and work to repay the debt. The woman, once again, believed his lies and told him not to worry, promising to handle the repayment herself. Seeing that she had fallen for it again, he secretly rejoiced and deliberately sent her to find Aunt Wang in the village, claiming she had a way to make quick money. He said she could earn 10,000 yuan in no time. What the woman didn't know was that Aunt Wang was actually someone who lured women into prostitution. After sizing her up, Aunt Wang told her to go to a salon the next day and promised she would get the money immediately after finishing the job. Though suspicious, the woman didn't dare ask too many questions. For the sake of repaying the debt quickly, she agreed. The next morning, she went to the address. But as soon as she entered, the salon owner began harassing her. Only then did she realize that making quick money meant selling her body. Terrified, she tried to escape, but the owner shoved her onto a chair and attempted to assault her. At that critical moment, the tycoon burst in. Seeing him, the salon owner turned pale and trembled. The tycoon kicked him to the ground and roared, "Who gave you the courage to touch my woman?" The owner, terrified, smashed a bottle over his own head in panic, begging for mercy. The tycoon ordered him to get lost, but his men captured him as soon as he stepped outside. Thinking the woman was willing to do anything for money, the tycoon angrily threw a stack of cash at her and warned her never to do something so foolish again before storming off. Later, his subordinate reported that the younger brother-in-law had long been involved with the Song family's daughter and had been using the woman to fund his education. Upon hearing this, the tycoon resolved to expose his true nature. When the woman returned home with the money, the younger brother-in-law pretended to care and asked where it came from. She naively told him everything. He secretly felt pleased, assuming she had really sold herself, and hypocritically said he would never let her down once he succeeded. The woman was deeply moved and tried to hug him, but he stepped back in disgust. He then lied that he needed to return to school to study. She urged him to focus on his studies, unaware that the very next day, he went to propose to the Song family's daughter. Still in the dark, the woman continued working hard selling tofu, until one day she overheard villagers talking about his engagement. Only then did she realize she had been deceived all along. Without hesitation, she rushed to the engagement venue to confront him. At the same time, the tycoon also learned of the engagement and headed there with his men, determined to make the younger brother-in-law pay. When the woman arrived, she saw him holding the engagement ceremony with Miss Song. With tears in her eyes, she rushed forward and demanded to know if he had forgotten his promise to marry her and care for her for life. But he responded coldly, even turning the accusation against her. slandering her in front of everyone by claiming she had seduced him shamelessly despite being his sister-in-law. The woman angrily refuted him, saying she had worked tirelessly to support his studies because of his promise. Now that he had succeeded, he was shamelessly accusing her instead. The guests began to criticize him, but in anger and embarrassment, he slapped her and declared that as a widow, she was unworthy of him. He heartlessly added that only someone like the Song family's daughter was worthy. At that moment, Miss Song stepped forward and splashed a cup of soy milk over the woman's head. Then, with a sinister smile, she ordered 2 boxes of cash to be brought out and announced that anyone who stripped the woman in public could take the money. The crowd, tempted by the money, rushed forward. The woman trembled and resisted desperately, but she was no match for so many people. Just as her clothes were about to be torn off, the tycoon arrived with his men, charging in with overwhelming force. And those who had bullied the woman were about to face the consequences.